I am Charlotte Jackson, and this is Game Changer, the podcast that empowers you to align with your true self, mind, body, and spirit, because that is where the magic happens. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a certified holistic coach, Reiki master, and EFT practitioner, and I'm a recovered crystal meth addict. And everything I share with you are things that have already helped me, things I've learnt, or things I am learning along my journey. So welcome, and thank you so much for being here. It is my only wish that this episode finds the person that it is meant to find and empowers them to change their life. Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Game Changer. You know the drill. We're here every week. We're talking about all the things that have already helped me, and to be honest, things that I discover as I go along this sweet journey of life and that I think would help other people to know about. So I just want to preface this episode before I get stuck into things and just let you know that I am currently sitting here with my bedroom window wide open. It's kind of muggy here at the moment, but that does mean that you may hear a little bit of background noise, a little bit more than usual. I normally shut the window when I record, but tonight I am not going to because it is fucking muggy, and when I go to bed shortly, I do not want my room to be a sweatbox. So apologies in advance. So today, what I really want to talk about is getting into a funk and how you get out of it. Because I'm not going to lie, the past couple of weeks for me have been actually really quite shit. I have been feeling really low, really not like myself. I've been feeling just lethargic and like I'm losing interest in things, and like there's a black cloud hanging over my head. And I honestly haven't had this experience in so long. For those of you who know me, I am generally a really upbeat and positive person. I always see the bright side. I'm usually full of energy. I love talking about positive things. I love talking about what could go right, and I love looking for solutions rather than problems in situations. That's me. That's who I am. And yes, of course, I have bad days, and I have days where I'm just not really feeling it, and days where I'm like, whatever, I just want to hide under the covers. But generally, these days don't really last for longer than maybe one or two. That would be it, 2 days, and then I'm just back on track. But this past couple of weeks, I have really just felt this feeling of just hanging over me. And I've been really, really struggling. And when this happens, I call it getting into a funk. And, you could call it getting into a rut. Anything like that. Just this feeling of just blah. So how would I describe how I'm feeling at the moment, or how I have been feeling? And it's not constant, but it's just on and off, just a general feeling that I have been experiencing. So I've just been feeling really unmotivated. I feel like I've got no energy. I feel like shit, to be honest, but for no reason. There is no specific thing that has happened. I haven't suffered in any way. I haven't had an experience that has upset me. It's just a general feeling of just ugh. And I started to feel really lonely. And for me, loneliness is not about the people around you. It's actually about my connection to myself. So when I start to feel lonely, that is when I am the most disconnected from who I am. And when I am the most connected to who I am, that's when I don't feel lonely at all. And it never has any correlation to do with the amount of people around me or the depth of the relationships that I'm having or anything like that. But when I am acting in alignment with the person that I was born to be and created to be, that is when I feel my best and my happiest, and everything just seems to click into place and life is good. But when I don't feel connected to that inner essence of who I am, that's when suddenly I start to feel this loneliness creep in. And for me, I guess loneliness is quite triggering, because loneliness was fundamentally the cause of my drug addiction. I honestly had never felt such crippling loneliness as when I was a drug addict. And you can imagine that's because I was so disconnected from who I was, the true essence of my being, my soul, my core, whatever you want to call it. I was so disconnected from that. And that was when I just felt this depth of loneliness. And then when you experience loneliness, your automatic reaction, my reaction back then, was to seek this validation outside of myself. And in fact, the reason I was actually feeling lonely back then was because I did seek the validation from outside of myself. Now I seek my validation from within myself. And so my experience of riding this wave at the moment is quite different to how it was in the past. And so, yeah, I've just been sinking into this weird funk, and it's fucking shit. I don't know if you've ever felt like this before. It's interesting. I shared this on my Instagram, and I had so many people reach out to me saying, oh my God, I feel like this all the time. You are not alone. I totally get it. And so I know that I'm not the only person that experiences things like this. But like I said, it has been so long since I have felt like this for an extended period of time. So I obviously these days know a lot of things that I didn't know when I used to feel like this. And I have so many tools up my sleeve for when I do feel like this, and the things that I can use in order to make myself, I don't want to say feel better, because the thing is, yes, of course I do want to feel better. And yes, of course I do want to go back to feeling like myself. However, I also think it's very important that we don't avoid our emotions and feelings. But this doesn't even really feel like an emotion or a feeling. It's just like a bleh hanging over me. Just like a nothingness. It's almost like I'm not feeling anything. I'm just feeling a bit numb. That's probably the best way I could describe it. So there is no singular thing. I said this before. There's no singular thing or singular reason as to why I am feeling like this. But when I reflect back on the past month, let's say, because although it's been going on for a couple of weeks, there's been a sort of build up to these weeks. So there have been a few things that I've been doing that have slowly contributed to me getting into my funk. And these are things like, I have been spending a lot more time in front of screens, on my phone, in front of the television. I've just been spending so much more time in front of screens. The weather has been shit, so I have been spending a lot more time inside than outside. I remember last summer, you honestly could not keep me in the house. As soon as the sun was up, I was bam outside. Even if I was at home, I was outside in the garden all day, every day, because it was such beautiful weather. But this summer has been fucking dreadful, and I have just been staying inside. And I wake up in the morning, and normally I go for a walk in the morning, and I've been going, fuck that. I do not want to go out there. It's raining, it's cold, it's miserable. Even when it's warm, it has just been overcast and wet. So strange, honestly. I haven't had a summer like this in the UK for a really long time. So because of this, I've been spending more time inside. I've been spending more time in front of screens on my phone and watching TV. And weirdly, I've even been doing that thing where I've been watching TV and using my phone at the same time, which I always find fucking weird, because it's just like, well, if you're going to be sitting in front of the TV, why are you sitting on your phone at the same time? Is one screen not enough for your attention? So I've been doing that. I've also been getting up later. I also started going to bed later because I was getting up later. And then I just started going into this weird cycle where I was then watching loads of TV. I started getting really into watching The Vampire Diaries, which is just honestly so fucking strange, because it's just a weird show to be obsessively watching, you know? Like every 5 minutes there's someone being chomped at. Every 5 minutes someone's getting attacked by something coming out of the dark, you know. It's all this like people jumping at each other, killing each other, stabbing each other. It's very aggressive, which again is not really the kind of show that I like watching. Very aggressive, makes me jump a lot, probably activating my nervous system a lot as well. Not really the kind of thing that you want to be binge watching. Certainly not the kind of thing you want to be binge watching before you go to bed. So I was watching this before I was going to bed, and then I was having fucking weird dreams, and then I was sleeping really badly. And all of these things started to contribute to the funk. I then started to feel like, I don't really feel like taking care of myself. I don't actually really feel like getting up early and going for a walk or exercising. I don't really feel like leaving the house. Almost like a petulant child. No, I just don't want to. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it. I don't want to eat healthy. I don't want to have breakfast. I don't care. I just want to sit around watching TV, doing nothing with my life because I feel shit. So all these things slowly contributed to me getting into this shitty funk. Then on top of this, I then started to feel stressed out. And then the negative voices start coming into the head. So I will be waking up each morning, and my first thoughts when I wake up, and I think this is actually something that is really, really interesting, okay? For the next few days, when you wake up in the morning, I want you to really make a note, write it down if you want to, or just make a mental note of the first thoughts that you have when you wake up. What is going on in your mind when you wake up? Because that is a very good indicator of where you are at mentally. And for the last couple of weeks, when I was waking up in the morning, my first initial thoughts were, ugh, God, I just can't be fucked. I don't want to get up. I don't want to do this. I'm so shit. Why am I like this? Ugh, why am I like this? What's wrong with me? Ugh, why am I scrolling on my phone? Fuck, I'm such a fucking idiot. This is literally my internal dialogue as soon as I wake up, okay? Shocking. So I started beating myself up every morning. This voice is going through my head. I'm so shit. I'm not doing all the things I want to do. I did somehow maintain daily meditation practice, but even that, some days it was getting down to about 5 minutes, and it was just something I was quickly doing because it almost felt as though it was something on my to-do list that I just had to do and had to tick off. I don't think that I was really engaging with it, even though I was actually sitting there and doing it. And this started to make me feel really quite stressed out because I'm thinking, oh, what am I doing? This isn't me. Why am I doing this? Why am I behaving like this? Stress. All of these factors, the late nights, the not getting up in the morning, the not going out for a walk in the morning, the eating shit, the going to bed late, the watching the weird TV show that makes you jump out of your skin, the disrupted sleep, the beating yourself up, all of this stuff has also contributed to massively dysregulating my hormones. Then I'm about to get my period as well, so I'm feeling extra emotional. And I've suddenly also had a massive breakout of cystic acne all over my chin, and it just won't seem to clear up, okay? And all of these things, again, are just contributing to making me feel even shitter. And I find hormones a really interesting one because I think it's one of those things where it's a case of what came first, the chicken or the egg. So obviously your hormones contribute to your mood and your emotional state. And that's why as women, when we come up to having a period, our hormones are slowly depleting and we start to feel a bit shit. And that's just part of our cycle. Obviously, some people experience really bad PMS symptoms and some people it's very only slight. I usually only experience some very slight PMS symptoms. In fact, I normally don't even really experience any. But obviously this time around, I had done so many things to disrupt the rhythm of my body that my hormones were all over the place, and then it's showing on my face and my face is screaming out at me. And I'm not joking when I say this. I always get a weird acne breakout when I am acting out of alignment with who I'm meant to be. And when I say meant to be, I mean the person that I was born to be, the person that I am at my very soul, at my core, my inner essence, the Charlotte that you know and love. That person, when I act out of alignment with her, I always break out. It's so weird. So when I break out, I know that it's my body screaming at me to take notice. Charlotte, something is wrong. Something is off here. Come on, wake up. Notice what's happening. Notice what's going on, okay? So I finally have started to make my way out of the depths of this fucking funk. And I want to talk about the things that I've been doing in order to get out of it, because I think that from the messages that I received on Instagram, so many people experience these weird little funks that we just slip into. And like I said, they are so easy to slip into. And if you are feeling like you're in a funk, if you feel that lethargic, unmotivated, losing interest in things, the black cloud hanging over your head every morning when you wake up, if you're feeling like that, I am here to tell you it's okay and there is a way out. I promise you there is a way out. It's not that easy at first. It does require action and persistence to get yourself out of the funk. It didn't take one day to get you into the funk, and it's not going to take one day to snap you out of it. Especially if, like me, you've managed to fuck up your hormonal regulation and hormonal balance in your body. It's going to take a little bit of time to sort that shit out, but it is possible. And that's what I want you to know. It's 100% possible. You do not have to feel like this. I swear you don't have to feel like this. And I'm already starting to feel better because I'm starting to do things that are helping me get out of the funk. So let's talk about how I'm getting out of the funk. And hopefully these tips will help you as well if you're experiencing this, or if you ever do experience this, or if you have experienced this, maybe you can see how you sort of played into falling into the funk and the things that you can do to help yourself get out of the funk. So some people would call this also a rut. And the way that positive people who are happy and have these thoughts that are always looking on the bright side and and I'm not talking about toxic positivity. I'm talking about people who are just generally upbeat, happy, and bring good energy. The reason those people are like that is because they've actually created neural pathways in their brains that have wired together in this way. They are so positive so often that it is just the default for their brain to go zoop and positive, 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 because that's just how their brain is wired. The trouble is, this works as well for negative thinking. So if you get stuck in that rut, you actually have literally created a rut in your brain and you're stuck. The wiring is there, that's why you're feeling negative, and the more you do it, the more it happens and the more it gets in place, and it is just a never-ending cycle of bullshit. So it would seem, but it's not. There is a way out. So the first step of getting out of the funk is that you get tired of your own shit. And this is fundamental to getting out of any funk, any shitty pattern, any shitty cycle in your life. The number one step is that you get tired of your own shit. So when I'm in this funk, right, I'm sitting there and I'm feeling quite sorry for myself. I'm so lonely. I'm so bored. I don't have any friends. Just looking for the negative in everything rather than the positive, which is my usual way of looking at life. And I had to have a moment where I was like, okay, yeah, I know that you feel a bit shit right now. That's okay. I'm going to look after you. But Charlotte, right now, you are your own worst enemy. And I'm tired of it. And I am taking back the reins and I'm not putting up with this shit anymore. That is the first step of getting out of the funk. The second step, and this is so important, notice that the first step is not even an action. The second step is not an action either. The second step is realizing that you are not your thoughts and you don't have to listen to anything that you think. So when I wake up and my initial thought is, I feel so shit, I don't want to get out of bed. When you experience these negative thoughts, especially when you first wake up, you have to give yourself a good fucking talking to. And this is what I was saying to myself. Hold up. What do you mean you don't want to get out of bed? I do want to get out of bed. I wrote it down on my list of things to do last night. I said I wanted to get up early and I wanted to go for a walk before work. I know that that's what I want to do. That is me. The person who decided that is me. And I want to do that. I know that 100%. So what are these thoughts that are telling me the opposite? How can I be the person who wants to get out of bed in the morning and wants to go for a walk before work because I know it'll make me feel good? How can that be the same person who's telling me, oh, I don't want to get out of bed? Well, I'll tell you how, because you are not your thoughts and you don't have to listen to your thoughts. And if you have a thought that you don't agree with, so for example, the thought telling you to stay in bed and you don't agree with it, you just say, actually, I don't agree with that. Actually, I do want to get up, so shut the fuck up. Sometimes you have to tell yourself and your thoughts to shut the fuck up and just get up and do the thing. And I know that that is easier said than done. Trust me, I know, because I'm in the funk. I'm coming out of it now, but I know that when you're feeling that way, it is so hard to do the things. And this is step number 3, and this is the key. And this is the hard part. You have to take action and do the things that you don't want to do. You have to take action and do the things that your thoughts are trying to convince you not to do. And you do have the power to do that. You are not your thoughts. Do not let your thoughts control your life. Do not let your thoughts control your body. When you wake up, and you want to get up and you want to go to the gym, or you want to go out that door and go for a walk, do not let your thoughts talk you out of it. You are so much stronger than that. And the first day is the hardest day because you have wired this negative thinking and these negative patterns into your mind. But just like you wired them in, you can unwire them. But it takes practice and it takes repetition, and it's not going to change overnight. And that's why it's so difficult. So if you imagine all the little steps that it took for me to get into my funk, like using my phone more, there's one step. Then I started getting up later, there's another step. And then I started going to bed later, there's another step. And then I didn't really feel like eating breakfast, that's another step. And I stopped going for walks in the morning, which FYI is such a good way to regulate your hormones. Stop doing that. The weather's been shit, so I stayed inside, another step. I just stopped doing anything because I just couldn't be bothered. Another step. And before you know it, you are right at the bottom of this hole and you're like, shit, how the fuck did I get down here? And it reminds me a lot of drug addiction, because you don't become a drug addict overnight either, right? You might start partying. That's happened with me. I used to party, and then that was one step. And then I started maybe hanging out with people that were taking drugs every day. That's another step. And then I started taking drugs more often. That was another step. And then I started using drugs when I was by myself. That's another step. And then I started using drugs every day. That's another step. That's another step, another step, another step. And before you know it, you're at the bottom of the hole. This is the same thing. And just like it didn't happen overnight for me to get out of the hole of addiction, it's not going to happen overnight for me to get out of the funk either. And I just have to consistently take steps in the right direction. And that's what you have to do to get out of a funk. You basically have to make yourself take little steps even when you're not seeing results. So the first time that you get up and you get out of bed in the morning, you will feel much better. But the next day when you wake up, you might then have another thought when you wake up. But I'm telling you, I got myself up out of bed maybe 3 days in a row when I didn't want to get up. And I started going for walks each morning when I did not want to. My mind was trying to talk me out of it. 3 days. And now when I wake up, my chatter in my head when I wake up now is, I had the best sleep. I'm so glad that I'm awake and here, and I'm so excited for the day. I can already feel my thoughts are already changing. And I'm still not fully out of the funk. I'm still feeling a little bit disconnected. I'm still not feeling 100% myself. I've also just become very disconnected from everyone around me, because I think I had a job where I was so intensely around other humans that it was so noisy that I couldn't even hear myself think. My routine and my circadian rhythm were all over the place because I was working shifts, and I felt like I just couldn't even breathe. And I was just going through the motions and just getting through each day, and everything was so crazy and so busy and blah, 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 blah. It was so much. And then I started this job where I was working from home. And the first thing that I thought was, this is bliss. I love it. The peace and quiet. I don't have anyone watching what I'm doing. I can just be and just relax and just do my job, and no one's interrupting me and the phones aren't ringing, and I can just do my job. This is so good. but I went too far and I stopped interacting with other humans because I needed that rest and that break from this job that was so crazy and busy. And anything in extreme is not good. I find too much people, too much noise, too much craziness, too much busyness, that's not good. But too much quiet time, too much being on your own, too much, I wouldn't say peace, but too much pulling away and too much isolation, that's not good either. You've got to find a balance in life, and you've got to find a way that you can just be in sync and happy and connected and in flow and just enjoying yourself. Because I've got to be honest, the last couple of weeks, my life has just felt like I am wading through mud or stuck in honey, and I just feel stuck and stagnant and just not myself. And it just hasn't been enjoyable, and I have just felt, like I said, so disconnected from my soul, and that has just made me feel so depressed and so lonely and just not me. And I can feel my spark is starting to come back again, thank God. And I just made really small changes. I've started going to bed earlier. I've started waking up earlier. I've started going for a walk each morning. I've started listening to affirmations. By the way, my favorite affirmations to listen to. Sometimes I do listen to my own affirmations, and I love listening to my own affirmations in my own voice when I'm programming my mind in the mornings or the evenings before I go to sleep or just after I wake up. But my favorite affirmations to listen to, if you want to look this up, Madison Mindset. Type that in on Spotify, Madison Mindset affirmations, and a whole list of affirmations will come up. Madison is this beautiful girl. She lives in Australia. She's awesome. I've connected with her through Instagram. That's how I found her podcast in the first place. And she creates these affirmation tracks, and they are so beautiful. There's a bit of music. They're about 10 minutes long. They're amazing. And that's what I listen to now. Wake up in the morning, I do my meditation, and I've started also, so the meditations that I was doing were the ones where it was maybe I was squeezing in 5 minutes of just sitting in peace and quiet. And that's great. But what I've started to do, because I need the help, is started to do some guided gratitude meditations, and they have been a game changer. So I've started my day doing a nice gratitude meditation, guided, and then I'll get up and I'll jump on the rebounder, which is a mini trampoline downstairs, to kind of get the blood flowing, get the lymphatic system going. And then I go for a walk. And whilst I'm going for my walk, I listen to my 10-minute affirmations, Madison Mindset. She's amazing. Sometimes I listen to other ones, but she's always been my go-to for just a quick affirmation track. So I will listen to that as I'm going for a walk, and I'll just take in the beauty all around of the nature, and I'll just start to feel really good again. And then I'm reminded, this is how I'm meant to feel. I'm meant to feel like this. And I can feel my body and my cells just saying, thank you, Charlotte. And I'm not quite back to where I was when I was feeling really good and really happy. And I know there's a few more steps that I can take as well to feel a bit more connected. And I'm going to start working out at the gym again and doing things like that, because I've just been working out at home, which again has just been withdrawing me and isolating me even further. I basically don't even leave my house, which has been a bit of a problem. So I've started going into the office more and just doing little things. And I think sometimes as well, especially when you're on this spiritual journey, it can feel quite isolating, because you feel as though not everyone around you sees the things that you see or believes the things that you believe. You know, for me, I went through this crazy, massive journey on the other side of the world that 99% of the people that I know now could not even imagine experiencing. I don't hang out with anyone that's ever smoked crystal meth or been inside a crack den. It's just not around me anymore, which is great. But at the same time, no one around me understands what I went through. It's just this weird experience that I just carry on my own, that I'm like, oh yeah, that was a weird time of my life that I just went through that. But no one really gets it, because they are never, hopefully, pray to God, no one would have to experience that. But it does sometimes make you feel a little bit lonely when you go through these big things. And especially, I think, when you are a little bit more spiritual, because not everyone is that inclined. And so I will feel like, oh, I'm just not really connected to anyone, which is actually fucking bullshit, because you are connected to every single person that you meet. And connection is not necessarily deep, meaningful conversations where you're talking about the meaning of life and all this crap. It's not crap, but you know what I mean. Connection can be as simple as the person that you say hello to at the supermarket checkout. It can be the person you wave to every morning at reception. It can be the person who walks past your house each morning. It could be your postman. It could just be anyone that you cross paths with. It doesn't have to be deep, meaningful. And I think sometimes, because I really do value authentic, deep relationships and connections, I can sometimes push away the connections that I have that aren't that. And that is really me just operating from a place of ego, I think. It's not operating from a place of love. And when you operate from a place of love, you feel good. And I think that I've just been going through this weird funk where I've been not operating out of a place of love towards myself, and then not towards other people either. And I've just become disconnected from who I am and everyone and everything around me. So I really hope that you are not currently experiencing a funk. But if you are, I hope that my experience helps you. And I hope that you are able to break out of the funk, because you absolutely have the power to, my dear. It all starts with yourself. It all starts with what's going on inside. It starts with your thoughts, and you have the power to create your thoughts. You have the power to create your life. And it's up to you. If you want to change your life, if you don't like the life that you are living, it's up to you to change it. And you can do that. It all starts with the way that you think and the way that you treat yourself. Focus on that. If life isn't going how you want it to, how are you treating yourself, and how are you treating others around you? How are you talking to yourself? How are you talking about others around you? How are you looking after yourself and the others around you? Treat yourself with kindness and treat others with kindness, and I promise it'll ripple out into your life and life will feel good. But you have to be the one to take action, because nobody can do it for you. No one can pull you out of your funk. You are the person that has to pull yourself out of the funk. And you can, absolutely, because I can see the light. I'm slowly taking the steps towards the light, and I'm so excited. And I'm also so excited because I'm about to get my period, and that's going to really help, because then I can start going back up. The hormones are going to start building back up again, and I'll start to feel a lot better, because this has just all happened at once for me. But honestly, you absolutely have the power to change your thoughts and change your life. And if you are experiencing the funk, please know that you are not alone. I promise you're not alone. You're not the only person that feels it. Everyone goes through these things, and you can always reach out anytime. And if you do want to reach out, please just send me a message on Instagram. @ I am Charlotte Jackson is my account. And if you like this episode, then leave a review or rate it as well. I always appreciate the reviews and the ratings so much. And share this episode with anyone that you think might want to hear it. I really hope that you are living your best life and taking action every day to change the fucking game. You don't have to play the game if you don't want to, but you can fucking change it. And that is what we're here to do. So thank you so much for listening to another episode of Game Changer. And I will check in with you again next week in the next episode. Thank you so much for listening.